Every life, no matter how fast or how slow it's going, needs balance. And an important aspect of balance happens to be boundaries. Now, we have boundaries. We like to have them and we like to push them. Boundaries serve many purposes. They create an area of safety. For example, children need boundaries in order to keep them safe so that they grow up to be whole and healthy adults. Students need boundaries in order to help focus their learning. As an art teacher, when I would give an assignment to my students, I would always be sure that there were boundaries, a sense of focus, rather than saying, oh, draw anything you want, which would leave them, in many cases, not knowing which direction to turn. I would specify certain boundaries or parameters that help them focus, narrow the options, and then use their energy for that. And boundaries help define areas of expertise. So in our adult professions, we like to gather our talents and our practice and our experience into specific areas which make them easier to sell, to promote, and to polish. So boundaries are helpful. They help define us. Then, when we go to push a boundary, what we're doing is we're engaging in excitement. You know, it's fun to live on the edge and work on the edge. There's a sense of taking who we are and what we have and just seeing if we can't go a little bit farther. So there is that excitement. Also, there is the idea of accomplishment. When we come to a boundary, like a sea creature coming to the extent of its shell, it crawls out of the shell, exposed to the elements, and forms a new shell, a new, larger boundary. It is, in a sense, a step in our accomplishment, graduating from one framework to another. So boundaries are very helpful, and each time we change a boundary, we change the balance point. Let's look at balance in terms of resources. An ocean will seem infinite in terms of a resource. A pond will have its limits. It has its boundaries and it easily gets used up. In our own lives, we need to think of ourselves as the pond and how we access resources. Let's take a look at energy, for example. Energy is something that we use all the time, and it's very much like a bank account. If you have a savings account, you can use up your bank account and still have money in reserve to go that extra distance if you need to. When it comes to energy, it's helpful to have a physical reserve inside oneself, or to create time to balance the energy that we have, to replenish it so that we can keep on going. So an energy bank account needs to maintain a certain balance. Then we have pacing. You know, effective use of time is very, very helpful. Balancing the time we have with what we need to accomplish. Now, some people go so fast, they speed through something so quickly that they may have a big amount of time left over, but maybe the quality of the product wasn't so good. Other people are so pokey and take so long to do a little that they run out of time to complete the work. So pacing, there's a balance to pacing. And then there's savoring. Now I add this one because I think savoring is important. In order to maximize the benefit of anything that we do, it's really helpful to enjoy and savor that which we're doing. Rather than focusing on what the payoff is at the end, it helps to balance the process with the payoff. In order to illustrate some basic concepts about balance in life, I'm going to do a very, very simple painting for you. And in this painting, we're going to start off by indicating that life is always tilting in one direction or another. For example, sometimes things are going quickly and easily and you feel like, whoa, it's all downhill from here. And other times we seem to be climbing and climbing and climbing, and well, that's another part of the life activity. These tilts are built into life, and they're important because they actually give life movement. One tilt slows us down for a while, and the other tilt speeds us up, and those two tilts balance each other. Another thing that exists in life is that we have both positive and negative. And the negative is not a bad thing. I'm going to paint some sky here. Actually, I'm going to use a larger brush to paint sky. And notice what happens. As I paint the sky, I am creating two shapes, a blue shape and a white shape. And what that does is shows that sometimes the negative, that is the background, creates and helps shape the positive. So by painting negative space, background, I give form to the positive, which in this case are clouds. So we often think that positive or that negative events in our life are a bad thing, but actually not. They are balancing what's going on. The negative helps us appreciate the positive. Sometimes the negative makes us take action so that we can create something that's more positive. It's just part of life. Another part of life is that it can become very complicated. We will find that we have various hills and lumps and bumps that we need to deal with. Sometimes there are a few, sometimes there are a lot of them. And these complexities actually help create interest. So that's what I'm painting here. It's just a few of life's complexities. Some of the complexities are in the distance, and other complexities are closer. Complexity needs to be balanced with some simplicity. And so it's very, very nice if you find your life becoming much too involved, much too complicated. It's very, very nice to then begin to simplify it. How do we do that? Take a vacation, take time out. If you have an opportunity, have a nap or sit in nature. Or stop and read a book and just let the body and the mind rest. Well, in addition to negative and positive and complex and simple, we also have dark and light. Right now, of course, I have a lot of light. I mean, it's all white. But there is the need for some degree of darkness. Darkness can be a time of being shut down. a time of simply going to sleep, a time of contrast. Contrast in life is very helpful. It is a balance. So we would get so bored if everything were the same lightness or the same darkness or the same value. So we need to have contrast. Oh, so far the painting is all blue and white. Well, life can use color too. We need color. And the interesting thing about that is that as you paint your life, you may have very strong ideas about what colors you think are appropriate. Some people are very cheerful, and so the colors that you will see them, their life will seem bright and cheery and warm. But have you noticed other people have lives which seem so dreary or dark or gray, dramatic, red, hot, or cold? We want to help those people change their colors, don't we? You see somebody painting in gray all the time and you go, oh man, you need help, you need color. But one of the points that I'd like to make about life in the fast lane, life in the slow lane, life in general, is this. Everybody's life is their own work of art. And because it's their work, they get to use whatever color they want. This is even true for our mates, our husbands, our wives, our friends, our children. We will often say, oh, they can't possibly be happy using just that color. They really need to use our colors to be better, to feel better. But you know, it's not our job to choose the palette for the people that we love or for people we don't love. Everybody's life is their own business and their own work of art. It's important to remember that and to stay out of the way. Sometimes we can make changes or suggest changes in composition. And of course, this is very true when you are raising children or you're an educator. You might want to suggest to the person that you're working with that, oh, perhaps they'd like to lighten up a little bit. Now that's okay. But we cannot dictate what color is best because, you know, when creating a composition, we don't really know what the outcome is going to be. It's not predictable, and therefore it's kind of important to step back and simply observe and wait and see what's appropriate. If it's our own painting, our own life, we can say, oh boy, you know what I need? I need a little more, fill in the blank, whatever color you need more of. But if it's somebody else's life, you go, I wonder what they need more of, and then you just wait to find out. So this painting is not finished in any way, but here are the points that I want to make. Life has its tilts. It has its ups and downs, and that's what creates movement in life. Life has its darks and its lights, and those contrasts enliven our life. The darks help make the lights seem brighter, and of course, the brights help make those darks seem deeper and maybe stronger because there's a lot of strength in the darkness. There are areas which are very complex, broken into many little pieces, which is fine, and to have a larger, simpler piece to balance it is very helpful. And just to remember that everybody's life has its own color, its own tonality. And this is a good thing because, again, the variety of colors in lives makes life so much more interesting to live and to look at. And if I haven't said this already, the negative space helps create the sense of the positive. Positives and negatives are both a part of the whole. They're both healthy. They're both important. So here's a painting. It's pretty fast and it's pretty simple, but it's a reminder that your life is your work of art. So know that there's a lot that goes into it and try to enjoy the different aspects of it.